You ever realize too late that you were erased a long time ago? That was me, standing under a tree at a family picnic, holding a paper plate of overcooked burgers, when I found out my sister got married. A week ago. No invitation. No call. Not even a text. Didn't Melon look gorgeous? My cousin chirped, waving a phone in my face. Her Instagram feed was full of white dresses, champagne toasts, and a caption that stopped my breath cold. The best day of my life. Thank you to everyone who made it unforgettable. Everyone. Everyone but me. I'm Michael, 41. Live in Portland. Architect. Quiet type. Oldest of 3. The brother who always showed up. Helped with the down payment on my parents' new kitchen. Drove cross-state when my dad broke his hip. Loaned Melon $5,000 to get her car situation sorted. And never mentioned it again. But somehow I wasn't on the guest list. And it wasn't a mistake. Not with that many people. Not when she posted stories for days. Not when even my ex-girlfriend's dog had a seat at the reception. I didn't say a word. Not at the picnic. Not to my mom when she asked if I could pass the mustard. Not when Melon walked over, all fake surprise and flailing hugs, saying, "Oh my God, Mike, I thought you were in Iceland or something." I just smiled and nodded like the fool they'd all decided I was. I drove home in silence. By midnight, I'd booked a one-way flight to Reykjavik. No messages, no goodbye, just an empty fridge, a locked door, and a single post on my social. Out of office indefinitely. Don't wait up. They noticed within 48 hours. And it was already too late. The silence did more damage than any confrontation ever could. I didn't deactivate anything. No dramatic exit. I kept my social media up, but stripped it bare. No captions, no tags. Just photos of glaciers, black sand beaches, and empty roads stretching into mist. Iceland suited me, cold, deliberate, untouchable. I rented a cabin 2 hours outside Reykjavik. 1 bedroom, with stove, no neighbors. Every morning I hiked until my legs burned. Every night I sat with coffee and watched the sky turn violet above the fjords. The messages started piling up. First from Mom, then from Aunt Rose, then from Melon herself. "Hey, didn't realize you were out of town. Hope everything's okay." Then, "You could have told me you weren't coming." And finally, "Why are you being so dramatic?" That one made me laugh. Dramatic was showing off your new husband at a wedding your own brother didn't know about. Dramatic was pretending you didn't notice when I wasn't in the photos, the speeches, or the seating chart. I wasn't angry. I was just done. They'd made their choice. Now I was making mine. I didn't reply. Not when my dad emailed a blurry photo of the family together at brunch with the caption, "Missing you today." Not when my cousin asked if I was still mad, and followed it up with, "You're always so sensitive." No one apologized. No one asked what they'd done. They just wanted me back in place, playing the role I'd always played, dependable, silent, helpful. I wasn't playing anymore. 2 weeks later, the wedding imploded. And that's when the real messages began. I got the video from a former classmate, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. No subject line, just a file and 1 line of text. "Thought you'd want to see this." It was footage from the wedding. Not the curated Instagram kind, the real kind. Shot on someone's phone mid-reception. You can hear music playing in the background, people laughing. Then a voice, sharp, slurred, and venomous. Maybe if Melon wasn't sleeping with my fiancé, I'd still be a bridesmaid. The music stops, gasps, and then chaos. Tables shifting, people yelling. A woman in a green dress lunges at Melon, who's frozen in place, mascara already smudging. The screen pans wildly, capturing a shocked crowd. The groom storming off, Melon's voice breaking through. "It wasn't like that." It was exactly like that. By the time the video ended, I wasn't surprised. Just tired. Melon had always been like that. Sugar and lies. Everyone fell for it. I stopped falling years ago. But the fallout was immediate. My phone buzzed nonstop for 3 days. "Mom, please call. It's bad. Melon needs support. Aunt Rose, You always kept the peace. We don't know what to do without you. Melon, I messed up. I know I did. But you disappearing just made everything worse. I stared at that last one for a long time. I had been her shield, the fixer, the brother who quietly cleaned up after her messes while she played the victim. They didn't miss me. They missed the function I served. I didn't respond. Not when Melon texted, "You're still my brother," or when Mom called 3 times in one night, leaving tearful voicemails about how broken the family feels without you. They weren't looking for me. They were looking for a fire extinguisher. And I wasn't that anymore. The calls escalated to guilt. "Dad, you're punishing all of us for one mistake. That's not fair. Cousin Elise, family means forgiveness. Melon, again, you're making this worse than it has to be." I sat on a frozen beach watching the Atlantic slam itself into jagged basalt and thought about how many times I'd been asked to absorb their chaos quietly. To be the buffer, the invisible glue. And the moment I stepped away, they called it punishment. I changed nothing about my routine. I hiked. I read. I cooked. I posted the occasional photo, always with distance, always without context. They watched every one of them. I could feel it in the sudden likes from relatives who never cared about my page. The cryptic comments. The passive-aggressive DMs. "Looks cold out there? You sure you're okay?" I was better than okay. For the first time in years, I wasn't managing anyone's emotions but my own. Then one morning, an envelope arrived at my rental. No return address. Just my name. Handwritten. Inside was a letter. 3 pages long. From Melon. "Michael, I didn't mean to hurt you." That was the first line. And I knew it was a lie before I finished the sentence. Because forgetting to invite someone isn't something you do accidentally. Not when the guest list was over 200. Not when the wedding planner printed names, tracked RSVPs, managed seating charts. My name wasn't forgotten. It was removed. The letter was rambling. Defensive, then emotional, then guilt-laced. "You've always made me feel judged. You act like you're above us. And then I didn't invite you because I thought you wouldn't come anyway." There it was. The pivot. Blame disguised as apology. It ended with a plea. "Please come home. Everyone's falling apart. I need you." Not "I miss you." Not "I'm sorry." Just "I need you." I folded the letter carefully and slid it back into the envelope. Then I placed it in the wood stove and lit a match. It burned slow. Even the paper resisted letting go. That night, I received a group message from the family. A long thread. Everyone chiming in. "Mom, we can't fix this if you won't talk to us." "Uncle John, I don't understand what this Iceland thing is even about." "Melon, if you cared about us, you'd come back." Not once did anyone ask what I felt. They just wanted me back in my place. I poured a drink, stepped outside into the wind, and made a decision. I wasn't going back. Not ever. But I was going to respond. Just not the way they expected. I bought the paper from a small shop in Safdra, heavy stock, unlined, pale as snow. The kind of paper you write something final on. I didn't type it. I wrote it by hand. No apologies. No anger. Just clarity. You didn't forget me. You erased me. There's a difference. I spent years showing up, holding things together, being the one who didn't make a scene. And when you no longer needed that version of me, you simply wrote me out. I'm not asking for anything now. Not forgiveness. Not explanation. Just distance. I ended with a single line. "I wish you peace. And I hope you learn how to be honest with yourselves first." I signed it with my full name. No return address. No signature flourish. No clue where it came from. I mailed it from a small post office at the edge of a fishing village where no one knew my name and no one cared why I looked like I hadn't slept in weeks. And then I walked out into the wind and felt lighter. Back in Portland, they must have gotten it 3 days later. I know because the silence changed. No more guilt messages. No more calls. Just nothing. Which told me they'd finally understood. I wasn't coming back to fix what they broke. That job expired the moment my name was missing from the guest list. I didn't block anyone. I didn't shut down my accounts. But I stopped replying. And silence, I learned, is louder than any confrontation. Weeks passed. Then one night, I got a message, not directly, of course, from a mutual friend who still talked to Melon. He'd been at a dinner with my family. He didn't know I could see his story. The caption read, "Missing someone who won't talk to you hits different." In the background, I heard Mom's voice. Talking to someone off camera. Michael's not himself anymore. Ever since Iceland, he's cold. He was always a little distant, but now? It's like he's punishing us. Punishing. That word again. It amazed me how easily they reframed my boundaries as cruelty. I wasn't cutting them off. I wasn't exposing their secrets. I wasn't yelling into the void. I just wasn't showing up anymore. And to them, that was unforgivable, because my usefulness had always been my currency. Quiet stability. Fixing things. Swallowing what hurt. Now that I wasn't available, they had to reframe it. So they started telling people I was going through something. That I'd changed. That maybe I needed help. Nobody mentioned the wedding. Nobody admitted what they'd done. I didn't correct them. Let them think I vanished into a breakdown. Let them tell neighbors and friends that I'd become unstable. I was more stable than I'd ever been. But if disappearing from their narrative hurt them, good. They wrote me out. I just made sure they noticed. It had been 2 months since I left. 2 months of quiet. No family calls. No obligations. No drama. Then my phone buzzed at 4:17 a.m. That 3 missed calls. I didn't answer. Didn't even open the voicemail. But I listened to it the next morning. Mike, it's gotten bad. Your mother's not sleeping. Melon's marriage, well, you probably heard. We could really use your help. Please call. There it was. Not we miss you. Not we're sorry. Just we could really use your help. The next day, a message came from Melon. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I'm drowning. And I don't know who else to turn to. I stared at the screen for a long time. Melon's husband had left. Moved out in the middle of the night, according to the family grapevine. No prenup, no warning. Her friend, the one who exposed the affair at the wedding, had gone public. Screenshots, voicemails, a full-blown online mess. My parents were mortified. My sister was spiraling. And I was fine. Better than fine. Out here, I was a different man. I hiked every day. Wrote. Built something with my hands for the first time in years. Even started consulting remotely for a design firm based in Oslo. I hadn't disappeared. I had reappeared as myself. But to them, I was still the oldest sibling, the crisis medic. And now that everything was burning, they remembered my name. The messages came fast now. Mom, it's not about the wedding anymore, Michael. The family is fractured. We need you. Dad, you've always been the level head. You're the only one Melon listens to. Even my godfather chimed in. Someone I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. I don't know what happened, son, but life's too short to hold grudges. Your sister's not doing well. They all wanted the same thing. Not a brother. A buffer. The emotional sandbag they could stack against Melon's storm. I was supposed to reappear, offer support, say wise things in calm tones, and pull the family back together so they could pretend none of it ever happened. And for a second, I almost did it. Habit is a hell of a drug. But then I opened my laptop and found the folder I'd built after the picnic. The one titled Omissions. It had screenshots, photos, notes, the wedding guest list, circulated in the family group chat 6 weeks before the wedding. I hadn't been on it. No one had spoken up. There was a saved text from Mom. I think it's better if we just let Melon have her day. A forwarded message from Melon to a cousin. Michael's always been a downer. He'll make it about himself. They didn't forget me. They erased me. And now they wanted me to forget that. I closed the laptop and opened a blank document. Not a letter this time. Just a single line. When everything breaks, don't call the man you abandoned to come sweep the glass. You don't really see it until you're out. How every favor was a test. Every call a calculation. Every invite a performance. My role had been fixed since I was a teenager, calm, useful, replaceable. The guy who fixed Mom's router at 11 p.m. Who lent money and said, "Pay me back when you can." Who showed up early to set up chairs and left last after washing dishes. Never the center. Always the support beam. And support beams don't get thank you cards. They get taken for granted until the ceiling caves in. Melon hadn't invited me to her wedding not because she forgot, but because I didn't fit the image. The curated life. The polished pictures. The adoring guests. She couldn't control me. Couldn't script me. And now that everything had collapsed around her, now I was essential again. My parents didn't see what she did wrong. They only saw my absence. It embarrassed them. Made them explain things to neighbors, coworkers, church people. And now I was supposed to fix their reputation by returning. As if silence weren't already loud enough. I didn't write back. I didn't send another letter. I posted a photo. A single shot of a windswept cliff in Westfords, with the caption, "It's amazing how peaceful it gets once you stop carrying what broke you." It got more likes than anything I'd ever posted. And that silence on their end finally felt like respect. After the post, the messages slowed. Not all at once, but gradually, like they were finally realizing I wasn't coming back. No one apologized. Not once. Not Mom, who called me selfish for staying away. Not Dad, who said I was letting my sister drown. And not Melon, who wrecked her own wedding, tried to pin it on me with silence, then expected me to glue the pieces back together. They didn't want forgiveness. They wanted access. And when I denied them that, they called it cruelty. Funny how the quietest person in the room becomes the villain the moment he walks away. I spent a week in the East Fjords after that. No signal. Just sky, water, and the kind of silence that doesn't ask for anything. I started sleeping better. My chest stopped clenching every time I saw a message notification. I even started smiling again. Not forced. Not for show. Real. Out there, with nothing to prove and no one to perform for, I remembered who I was before I became the family's emotional utility. A man with boundaries. A man with a life. And maybe for the first time, a man they couldn't manipulate. They'd gotten used to the version of me that never said no. Now they were learning how powerful that two-letter word could be. A month passed without a single call. No texts. No emails. No unexpected letters. I think that scared them more than anything. Because once the drama faded, once the wedding fallout settled and people stopped whispering, they were left with a new kind of problem. I hadn't come back. I wasn't punishing them. I wasn't sulking. I was simply gone. Not hiding. Not hurting. Just done. And the absence was permanent. They didn't know what to do with that. Because for years, my silence had always been a placeholder for obedience, for forgiveness, for submission. Now it was a boundary. One they couldn't cross. And they knew if they pushed it again, really pushed, they'd get something worse than anger. They'd get indifference. I left the last family group chat quietly. No message. No fanfare. Melon tried to re-add me. I hit leave chat without blinking. No one tried again. Instead, they moved on publicly anyway. Melon posted a photo at some yoga retreat with a caption about new beginnings. My parents started posting old family photos with me carefully cropped out. They weren't trying to heal. They were trying to rewrite. Let them. I had no interest in correcting their version. The truth didn't need defending. It just needed distance. They started filling the space I left with noise. Melon got a dog. Posted it like a child. Captioned every photo with healing. Mom started tagging my younger brother in photos with hashtags like #MyRock, #FamilyFirst. They were constructing a new narrative, one where I was never essential, just difficult. Distant. A phase they'd outgrown. That's the thing about quiet exits. People fill the silence however they need to. I let them. But then something strange started happening. Old friends reached out. Colleagues. Even two of Melon's bridesmaids. "You were right to walk away," one of them messaged. "That whole wedding was fake from the jump. We all saw it." Someone else DM'd. "Your sister treated you like scenery." I noticed. A lot of us did. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Truth has a way of leaking out no matter how tightly they try to seal the story. Meanwhile, my life kept unfolding quietly, steadily. I took a contract in Norway. Bought a small sailboat I didn't know how to operate. Learned to cook without a microwave for the first time in 15 years. I'd become someone else. Or maybe just more of who I was before I learned to shrink. And while they pretended I was a memory, I lived like I'd never belonged to them in the first place. I didn't send it through email. I didn't text it. I didn't post it for comments or likes. I wrote it by hand. Again. Same paper as before. Same weight. Same cold precision. But this time I sent 3 identical copies. One to my parents' house. One to Melon's apartment. One to the family attorney's office just in case they tried to twist what I said into something I didn't. No return address. Just my initials at the bottom. And this is what it said. I didn't disappear. I left. I left because you made it clear I wasn't part of the family. I was part of the furniture. You needed me to lift, fix, absorb. You needed me quiet. Useful. Invisible. Now you don't have me. And instead of grieving what you lost, you're scrambling to cover it up. I'm not coming back. Not for holidays. Not for emergencies. Not for forgiveness. This isn't revenge. It's recognition. I see you clearly now. And I finally see myself too. That was it. I signed it, folded it once, and sent it off. It wasn't meant to provoke. It was meant to close. The final page of a chapter one didn't even know I was writing all those years. They never replied to the final letter. No calls. No messages. No second attempts. And that told me everything. Not guilt. Not sorrow. Just the quiet acknowledgement that I had made a choice they couldn't undo. They had their wedding without me. Now they had their life without me. And I had mine. Far from their noise, free from their needs. I built peace they couldn't interrupt. A life they couldn't borrow. Presence they'd never feel again. And just like that, the revenge was complete. No shouting. No warning. Just strategy, silence, and consequences. Have you ever been replaced, erased, or betrayed like this? Let me know in the comments. I'm listening.